Arenado is facing the team that he could have been a part of this week, the Houston Astros. He had a big game yesterday. So Chandler Rome from Crush City Territory posted this. Why did Arenado tell the Astros no? Their trade of Tucker, quote, made me a little uncomfortable. And then also he talked about the realization that pursuing him meant that Houston would not re-sign Alex Bregman. That happened anyway. I mean, it can give you a little bit more in the quote. Arenado said, Tucker's one of the best players in the game. When you see a team trade him, 99 out of 100 players would probably be wondering, what does that mean? That's the question I asked myself. And obviously, if I went there, Bregman wouldn't have been going there. That's another player. And he said, I respect the Astros because they can't just wait for me to make my decision. They have to move on, and they have to make their team better, which they did. They got Christian Walker. They did some other things. I can see how it was taken as no, but they know I didn't say no. It was more of I need to see how all this plays out first.
He didn't say no, then why isn't he an Astro?
He did say no.
Well, then not just say I said no, I didn't want to go there. I want to go to LA.
Right.
I mean, come on. Let's be serious. I mean,
what were you waiting for? Like, hey, let's talk.
Okay,
in a few
they
months.
traded. They the reason they went after him is because they knew they weren't re-signing Bregman. That wasn't a secret. Everyone kind of already knew that. So to say that, now they traded Tucker because they didn't think they could re-sign him, especially if they brought in Arenado in his contract. So they traded Tucker to get, they got some players for Tucker. I mean, Cam Smith is eventually going to be a really good player. They got some other players that are going to work out. Paredes there but did the Tucker trade though? My question is, happen before or after? He must have happened after Arenado said no.
No, Tucker trade first. Then he sees that and feels uncomfortable.
No.
Says
okay, because then why did they go get Paredes?
In that trade,
yes,
they would have moved him to first,
and then not sign Christian Walker,
and Arenado would have played third.
Okay, so then the question is Paredes at first and Arenado at third better than Paredes at third and Christian Walker at first?
Sounds like a great question for someone smarter than me across the country.
Who? Oh, me?
Is your kid around?
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because to be honest, the wild card there is Paredes. Like, I don't know what his skill set is like. I know he's a fine third baseman, but I don't know what first base looks like. And Christian Walker is a Gold Glove, a perennial Gold Glove. So defensively, that's probably the better situation is the Paredes at third and Walker at first. The interesting thing about this in Arenado is like it makes a lot of sense that he's like, is this team on the up and up, or are we on the down and down? And am I part of the down and down? He doesn't want to go somewhere that is very clearly kind of filling in some gaps, and a team that isn't necessarily expecting to be as good as they've been in the past. You don't want to, go to a situation like that willingly if you can avoid it. So, and we've all heard all about his competitiveness and wanting to be on teams that are going to be there at the end. Not that he thought they wouldn't, but like if the organization's sending those signals, it's probably not the best situation. So, I think it was right to wait, but like you said, the only reason they're talking to you because Bregman's definitely not coming back, but that's different. Once you lose Tucker, they didn't need to move him. Like, that wasn't necessary. Like, not getting Bregman makes a lot of sense because he's a free agent. That's when you get the most money. But Tucker going, that was like hey, that's your best player. So what are you guys doing over here? So it makes a lot of sense that it happened the way it did. And I think that the Astros kind of pieced it together pretty well, and I think they're in a good position. I think that these guys are where they need to be. And I mean, look at the Cardinals are playing well, and Arenado's it's working out that he stayed there. So it's kind of working out for everybody so far.
Yeah, my only disagree part here is that the Astros are still good, and I feel like you could have recognized that. I don't think that they were suddenly going to rebuild. And they've done a really nice job of competing for a long time now. Their owner doesn't want to rebuild, and they spend money too. So they weren't going to spend $500 million on Kyle Tucker. So then they made the decision, hey, this is the time. And they, I think, made a really good deal. Paredes looks really good right now. He's off to a great start.
On base Bourbon and Baseball is telling us, yelling at us in the chat that his numbers are better than Bregg's.
Paredes?
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. Don't disagree. Where's he at right now?
I don't know. I haven't
35 OPS plus, 801 OPS, 375 on base, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. Everyone was excited to see what he would look like with the Astros.
Of course.
Pull hitter, Crawford boxes. Let's see a full season of it. But yeah, it's a good move. My only thing was if you're Nolan, like, they weren't going to be a bad team.
No, he just didn't want to go there.
Yeah,
that's his right. If you have the no trade, you use it. I told you when I was with the Braves 1 year, my first year, they came up to me and said, we might want to move you. And I said, well, as long as it's not to Seattle, okay. And then they found out they were trying to trade me to Seattle.
So epic.
I nixed it by accident without even knowing. But that's a different. But I mean, if you have 10-5, like I remember the day I got 10-5, oh, it was like party time in Chicago because I'm like, they can't do nothing.
You're in control.
I have all the power. And that's what Nolan Arenado has. He deserves it. I mean, 10 Gold Gloves and all the things he's done special, probably a Hall of Famer. Like, he's got the power. And if he wants to say no to Houston, he doesn't want to go there. He doesn't have to explain it. He could just be like, you know what? I didn't want to go to Houston. Figuring out why.
Right, and then end it, and then it's not the topic of the entire offseason for the Cardinals, but that's what it was. Can you imagine, Trevor, if you're in the front office, you have to go to AJ, and you're like, all right, you're the guy. You go to him and talk to him about this trade situation. And then AJ's like, yeah, that's cool, just not Seattle. And they're like, damn it, that's what we figured out.
And I just meant it because, I was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta. I'm from Florida. I didn't want to go all the way to Seattle. Not that I actually love Seattle. I love playing there.
Yeah.
I love hitting there. I love the batter's eye. But I just didn't want to go from Atlanta to Seattle. My family's in Florida. Like, that's a long-ass flight. So it was just funny that it ended up that's where they were trying to trade me.
That's funny. FT fam, you got to check out HelloFresh. I know AJ's favorite part of HelloFresh. They've got the 15-minute meals, 3 steps, and you've got your dinner.
I love it. It comes fresh to your house. It's pre-packaged with all the ingredients in almost a brown bag. Comes with all the instructions. And what I like most about it is some people say, I don't like to cook. I like to actually chop the ingredients, cook them up. That way it makes it feel like, even though it was pre-packaged, you feel like you're doing something. And it's so fresh. Fresh vegetables, fresh meat, high quality. Comes with all the sauces, comes with all the spices you need.
Yes, and if you're like, hey, you guys talk about Green Chef. That's right. They're in the same fam. Both bring different strengths to the table. So check out HelloFresh, of course, and get yourself up to 10 free meals and a free high protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM. 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.